It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. From the album Earth and Grave, that was Earth and Grave, with a song called... Go ahead, Jim.
Earth and Grave.
There it is. Now, that's your favorite band of the minute, right?
Yeah, I got it. Aside from Priest, that will be my next favorite band.
No kidding.
I love that band.
Nice. You like that, E?
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely cool stuff, man. Well, all right. So now we did our bodybuilder interview. Comments? Anybody? Did anybody listen?
No.
Me either. E, did you listen?
Yeah, the music wasn't that bad. It wasn't produced that well, but the writing wasn't bad, and it was dynamic. It has an audience. They have an audience.
Sure.
I did Google the dude, and yeah, definitely has a poop-shaped body.
I agree with you though on the music. I didn't think the music was that bad at all.
Well.
No, it's crazy, man. But all right, let's get away from fucking bodybuilder guy. I'm really not wanting to talk about bodybuilder guy as much as I am an email that I got this week. I got an email from one of our listeners, Eric Reed, and I think we can probably get into a nice little conversation here about this. He says, "Hey guys, wondered what your thoughts are on these subjects. First, with a service like Spotify and the fact artists don't make much from it, but it's better than illegal downloading, wouldn't it serve artists better in touring? Many artists want to take a chance, but don't have real numbers to see possible attendance. Spotify uses real names and locations to sign up. A few lines of code and a label can see where these streams are. Maybe it could help an artist try a location. Also, we'll stop there for a minute. What do you guys think? You guys think that Spotify and Spotify tracking would help bands, figure out if they're worth going to other markets?" Go ahead, E.
Well, I think that the author hit it on the head with bands making their money touring, because that's really, you're not going to be able to manipulate the facts about what technology has done to the music business. People want their music free online, and I guess if they want it that bad enough, they'll go ahead and buy it on iTunes or whatever. But the hardest thing to do, which kind of takes it back to the old days, which is you have to actually get a following,
right?
And not locally, you have to do it nationally, and that's not easy to do. Not like it ever has been easy to do, but you can, in the metal and hard rock industry, it's super hard to do. Maybe ride the shirt tails of an already known band, right? On tour, but there again, it's theater ticket sales that's going to get you your mansion on the hill if you're going to make it in the music business. Otherwise, you better not quit your day job and just make killer music and put it out there for free.
Right. Jim?
I agree with
in
E.
the mic.
I agree with E.
Well, thanks for the input.
I'm not much with Spotify yet, so
right. Well, here's the bigger question, though. At least in my head, is do you think? And I have a distinct answer, and my answer is I absolutely think this. Do you think that what everybody seems to be missing, the record companies, the bands, all of them, what they fail to realize is that their music's really not that valuable anymore. I get it that we all love music. We all, whatever our favorite bands are, favorite songs or whatever, we all love that stuff. But it's not worth what it used to be anymore. Fair?
And there's so much of it. Yeah. And honestly, there's several different kinds of listeners. Mm-hmm. You've got your listeners that are connoisseurs, and they don't have enough time to like I'm sure, Chris, you're one of these people. You don't have enough time to have a favorite band and spend the majority of your listening time listening to that one band because you know that there's so many other bands out there.
Right.
And, I mean, it just seems like a waste of good music or at least a waste of being a music fan to devote that much time to one band. I don't know where I'm going with this. I lost my track.
No, I get what you're saying, and you're right. For me personally, I mean, everything now has switched from being physical to being download links. And I'll be honest, it has made me listen to a lot less music because, I don't have hours upon hours. I get 100 download links a week. Serious number. At least 100 albums a week I get offered to me to download. And I just don't have time for all that. I don't have time to, I store all my music personally in a cloud. I don't keep any physical. I don't keep a hard drive anymore, nothing. I have it all out in the cloud. I have, Jim, you can see them over there. There's 7 books of fucking DVDs full of 50 albums of DVD. And, I mean, there's a shit ton of music that I've backed up. But I don't back anything up anymore. I don't save anything anymore. I put it all in the cloud, and I'm done with it because I don't want it to, bog down my laptop, truthfully. So, for me, to download 100 albums in a week and then upload it to my cloud in a week, fuck that. That's not going to happen. So I grab the stuff that, truthfully, I tend to grab the stuff I know, which is not fucking the best. I know that's exactly what they don't want from a reviewer, but that's all I have time to do is grab the stuff I know and that I know people give a shit about, And a lot of his stuff I don't like. Like, I'm not a huge Striper guy as an example, but I grabbed the Striper album because I know that, there's an audience out there that wants to know what Chris Aiken thinks about Striper. And, you don't... My point to this whole rambling mess, though, is that in today's world, I just don't think that there's the value. Back in the old days, if Megadeth put out an album, they're one of my favorite bands. If Megadeth put out an album, there was no question they were getting my $15. I'd be looking a week ahead. Couldn't wait. Be looking for me a store that would sell it to me on the Saturday or the Sunday before the Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we all did it. Now, Megadeth puts out a record.
Yeah, back in the day, that's because it was because you were eager to hear the music, and you weren't going to be able to hear it any other way,
right?
Within 24 hours of a release, unless you went and purchased it. But then you also have, the jewel case fold-outs and all that, the lyric sheets and all the stuff that would, come with CDs, and then of course albums before that. Which now with the internet, I mean, if you have a band you're interested in seeing images of or that kind of stuff, it's just you can Google it on your smartphone.
Right.
But back in the day, I mean that goes back to the collections, collecting side of music.
Mm-hmm. And
I remember what I was going to say was that, or where I was going with that was that you almost have to have a perfect storm of. I mean, entertainment is much more than just music, and it's really not that hard to make good music. It's equally not hard to fuck up good music. So, from that aspect, it is hard to make good music. But as far as like writing talent goes and all that, if everyone just relaxes and doesn't get into power struggles within the band or do that, whole, that's not the direction I was looking for with that song I wrote last night on my guitar. Right. If everyone just collaborates as a band, and then on top of that, they can put on a good show, and then on top of that, can put on a good show night after night after night.
Right.
Then you have the makings of a super band or something that's going to become successul.
Right.
And I think that you can be your own worst enemy in the industry and screw it up, but really comes down to writing. If the people in the band just let go, chances are they're going to come up with something. The other element is, of course, coming up with not just something good that you can entertain a crowd on stage and do it night after night after night, but to come up with something good and unique.
Right.
Volbeat is a perfect example of that. These guys, it's simple music, but it's unique, And I don't think that they're going to be struggling for an audience anytime soon. I think that they're going to keep going with in the direction that they're going because it's a unique sound and they all gel together really well with it.
Sure.
My point is, I think with this is, and maybe I'm showing my age here, I grew up, my teen years were in the 70s. I don't think there was as many bands out, or not near as many bands out there now. I mean, nowadays, we were stuck on Cooper, Sabbath, Zeppelin, Grand Funk, all that kind of stuff. Then I get into the 80s and 90s, and now what I see myself doing now is like, for a prime example, this Earth and Grave, I can't get it out of my CD player, but I know there's so much more out there, and there's a few other bands that are stuck in there right now, but like Chris said, you don't have the fucking time to listen to half of this stuff.
Well, and a big part of and I would call it the problem is that they don't develop bands anymore, and my go-to on this is always Journey, which not my favorite band necessarily, but Journey had 5 albums before they hit? Right. I mean, they had all those Look in the Future and Journey and all those albums before Perry was even in the band.
Right.
They were out there trying to find their niche, and the label stuck with them and kept putting major money behind them and whatnot. Man, these labels today, 1, they're smaller and they don't have that money to spend, but 2, if a band doesn't hit immediately, I mean, you're not getting 5 fucking albums.
No, they're gone.
From Suicide or Death or whatever the band might be. Those bands are. You get 1 album. If you don't, next thing you know, you see on Blabbermouth, so and so's band has broken up.
Right.
And there's no development to it anymore. And I honestly think that's kind of the reason that the music is so shitty. In the long term, because even the ones that do hit, I'll throw Linkin Park out there as an example. Linkin Park went from nobody to fucking massive, in like 2 seconds. And in that time, they proved, as time went on, they slowly proved that they were not very talented. They made a second album that copied the first, and then everything after that was when they tried to be artistic, they proved that they were shit.
All right. Yeah.
What's
there to say about it?
Well, there was no development. There was no in the old days. They would have developed them. They would have learned that what they did, and somebody would have made a smarter decision on how to market them or something. I don't know.
Hey, dude's doing pretty good with the Alice in Chains now, though.
No, he's not from that band.
Linkin Park. That isn't the
singer. Stone
the
Temple
singer
Pilots.
Oh, it's the Pilots?
Yeah, he's in Stone Temple Pilots now.
Whatever. Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, what's the difference?
Yeah, they're the same band. Yeah, not a fan of that, personally. And I like Stone Temple Pilots, and I like Linkin Park, to be fair. But that combination together, blech, just dull.
All right. Well, I tried to play it. Yeah. I tried to play that card. It failed.
Ha, you lose.
I know.
All right, let's. I'll bail you out, though. We'll go to the rest of this guy's conversation, or this guy's email. Also, club shows and attendance. I work a job and I'm up at 5 a.m. During the week, I can't wait till 11 p.m. for say Dokken to headline. So I don't go. Many people I know feel the same. Wouldn't it be better to have the headliner on at 9 p.m. and after that have the local act? I mean, the local act usually has their friends only, so there wouldn't be any difference. Plus, more working people may come to see the act if it were more time-wise. Thoughts?
True.
You think?
I mean,
yeah,
it is true. I mean, you go to some of these local shows, you see who's there. And a lot of I'm in that category. I get up at 5 o'clock every morning during the week. I can't go to everything I'd like to go to. I mean, I will if I have to because it's if it's a major band that I have to see. But if it's a band that I'd like to see them, I'm not going to go out of my way.
Right. E?
Yeah. I have played many a show for no one more than the other bands and their girlfriends.
Right.
Sure. See, here's where I think that idea stinks. The reason a local band wants to play a show with a national band is to play in front of their audience. That's the only reason. That's the local bands, let's face it, they're all getting pimped to sell tickets. They're all being forced to, if my thrash band is going to open for Testament,
right,
I'm going to be selling 100 tickets. So I'm going to have to come up with, $1,200 or whatever 100 tickets costs, to play that. And I'll be damned if I'm going to do that and have the room fill out or, empty out. No way would I do that. When you're an unknown, when you're a local band, when you're an unknown band, you're trying to build an audience. And part of the reason you play in front of a national band is so that national act fans are force-fed your music, which hopefully jives with some of them, and they buy a shirt or a T-shirt or a CD or whatever the fuck.
Well, I can surely understand that point, but at the same time, the national act's going to lose people just because they're not going on till 9:30 or 10 o'clock.
True, but if you were the band, I'm just going from the band's perspective. I'll throw this to both of you. If you were the band, why would you try and sell tickets for a show when you're going after the national headliner?
Well, you want people to see you so you can get more exposure.
Who's going to see you, though? You can play the same gig in your backyard. All it's going to be there's your friends.
Right.
You can play it for nothing.
That's the music business today, I guess.
You know what I just realized was that all this stuff we talked about with the up-and-coming or the never up-and-coming bands, and the industry, what it has done it has kept our favorite bands on the road.
Oh yeah,
I think that because there's that nostalgia element. Nostalgia is why I'd go buy tickets to see Slayer. Slayer still kicks ass on stage.
Sure.
And maybe they wouldn't still be touring or able to tour if the same means that put them up, in their early days was available to the up-and-coming bands of today.
Sure. Well, double-edged sword, though, because there's some bands that should fucking really quit.
Yeah.
I'll point to the biggest band in the world right now, Metallica. I loved Metallica. Love them. Second favorite band ever. Would fucking chop off my arm if my choice was to keep my arm or keep my Metallica collection. Love Metallica. And that being said, we'll never go see them again. Because it's been since 97 is when I really started not liking Metallica live. At one point, they were the best, better than even like a Pantera or a Slayer or whoever you want to throw up. They were the best. There was nobody that brought more energy, nobody that played their songs tighter and interacted with their crowd and everything. There was no one ever as good, in my eyes.
Right.
And then in 97, they crept in with the fucking... They
Load.
did no. I don't even care about the music that they were doing record wise. I'm talking about live in concert. I saw them. They opened. They had Jerry Cantrell and Days of the New as the opener. That right there should be a big red flag. But then they go and say, "Okay, we're going to do Kill 'Em All. We're going to do a medley of Kill 'Em All." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, it's about time." And they brought out fucking stools and acoustic guitars.
Oh, no.
And did the fucking acoustic medley of Kill 'Em All.
Jesus.
And that was the only old songs they did the whole night. All the rest of it was fucking Black Album up with the standards. One and
Right.
They opened with Creeping Death, but everything else was like, Through the Never, King Nothing. And it was like, God damn it, the one moment they were going to play good songs and they played them acoustic, and it just sucked. And then they went from that to just steadily downhill. Jim and I saw Metallica in, what year is that?
09
or 10 or something?
09, yeah.
We went and saw them, and at the end of the show, first of all, they didn't sound very good. Second of all, they had a power outage in the middle of the show, which fucking sucked a dick. And then at the end, they dropped down these fucking beach balls. Big black beach balls. Hundreds of these beach balls. And they were kicking the beach balls out to the crowd. And, you know, and I was like...
Something you'd seen about 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I was thinking, this is fucking Metallica.
Yeah.
Just because back instead of fucking looking like beach balls, it's still beach balls.
Right.
It's still something Katy Perry would do.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fucking Miley Cyrus video, painted black. You know, it was like, ugh, what happened? You know, and they sound bad, and Hetfield, or find Jim Beam and forget God, or do something. Because
quit trying to sing.
Voice
quit
is
trying
bad.
to sing.
Yeah.
Quit trying to sing and to be a good singer and go back to when he could sing.
Yeah.
Well, the whole part of what I think James himself has forgotten is that his voice was never good. He was never a good singer. What James brought to the table in the live setting, better than anybody, was that attitude. He was just spitting lyrics. It didn't matter what he sounded like. He was just spitting fucking words, and the attitude was so fierce. I remember being at shows, and he would be screaming, because I was always front row guy. I was always throwing elbows and fuck anybody up to get to the front, you know. And so I would be right up front at all these Metallica shows. I've seen them over 40 times. And I remember Hetfield throwing the microphone down, getting on his hands and knees and screaming in everybody's face in the front row to fucking not to give them more energy because they weren't giving enough energy. I mean, he was that guy. He was so goddamn powerful. And now it's, okay, friends.
Yeah, right.
Glad you're here tonight, friends. It's
Right.
like, you fucking pussy. Sing a goddamn song, you know, and sing it heavy like you used to. It's Creeping Death, not Creeping Crib. You know, it's like fucking terrible.
That's like my favorite song by that band,
I love
too.
Creeping Death,
Fuck
dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really. I agree with your point that, you know, it does keep the bands out there, and some of them I'm certainly glad to see. I forget Monsters of Rock. I had a really good time seeing Rat in July. You know, in July I saw Rat in front of a big crowd, and it was really fun. And Jackal was in front of a big crowd, and then Dokken was really fun. You know, now some of these bands are not what they used to be. In fact, all of them are not what they used to be. But, you know, it is fun to see guys, and most of the old guys run circles around the new guys these days, even now, you know?
Right. That's true.
You know, I don't know. E, what shows have you seen recently of old bands?
Oh,
or have you seen any?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing live. I haven't gone out to anything lately.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. I'm so strapped with time.
Damn kids.
I watched the Korn concert on TV the other day, though.
How was that, actually? I was going to watch that. Was that good?
It was cool. They brought the cages back that goes behind the stage and above it. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I was impressed. I liked it.
Yeah, see,
I was jealous. I wish I could see them live.
Yeah, I've seen Korn 8-10 times, and I know, Jim, you probably hate Korn like a pet.
So, I might have saw them open for Sabbath on the reunion tour.
But they opened for Ozzy too, and it was Korn and Deftones opened for Ozzy on the what album was it? One of them albums.
I can't remember.
one of those.
I
Albums.
saw Korn here in the Northwest a couple years ago, and I remember it was one of those festival concerts.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And they had a trailer set up with Jonathan Davis's John Wayne Gacy collection.
Okay, nice.
It had paint.
Right.
If I'm pronouncing that right, artwork. And then another version of his mic stand that he's been using forever.
Right, the stripper stand or whatever.
It's one of them Geiger alien.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
From the Alien movies.
Right.
That type of artwork.
Okay.
But seeing the John Wayne Gacy paintings was interesting.
Yeah. No shit. What a waste of money. Jonathan Davis making all that money wasted on fucking shit paintings. I mean, think about it. And I'll say that. If the guy wasn't murdering people, his art wouldn't be worth shit because it's crap art.
I know. It is.
That's the funniest part about it.
But he did murder a bunch of people, buried them under his house, so that made the painting cooler.
Now, if he was cool, like that clown painting, he's the one that did the clown, right? The sad clown.
Yeah.
You know what? He should have done the fucking Reds in blood of his murder Vicks. Now that would be worthwhile.
Was a self-portrait. Because he was a clown, John Wayne Gacy was.
But wouldn't it have been more valuable if he'd have done murdered victims?
Well, how do you know he didn't?
That would have been great, though. Mm-hmm. See him trying to fucking
In my mind, he did. In my mind.
Exactly. Look at Mr. Scary in the chat room. Come on, Chris. Like Jeff said, how can you judge art? Very nice. All right, boys. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's play a couple of tracks. I know I'm playing a lot of music tonight. It seems like I'm playing a lot of music, but let's play a couple of tracks just because I need a beer. And we will come back, and we are going to... I'll give you guys a choice in over 10, 15 minutes while we play a couple of songs. We can, do a review of the heavy metal Jackson. Or B, we can dissect an interview with the fat-tongued guy from WVOX interviewing the metal god himself, Rob Halford.
Oh, you know who gets my vote?
Well, no votes offered up yet.
No unprecedented votes.
Yeah, no unprecedented votes. Let's think about this for a couple of minutes. We'll play a couple of tunes, and we'll come back and we'll do A or B. And goddamn, it's already 1:15, so we might be at the end of the show by the end of this. But
kind of hard to pass up the fat tongue, though.
That's true.
We can do them both. I mean, we'll probably get both of them in, but let's be sure about Fat Tongue Guy before we do it. So, by request, I'm gonna play one by request for my man John O'Brien from Metal Lessons. The old in the chat room tonight, or at least he was. I'm not looking at it right now. But he wanted to hear some Creator with a K because it's cool. So let's play some right now. It is Creator with Hordes of Chaos. It's right here
on your classic metal show.